Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Kim and in today's video we are going to learn about the elative case. This video is split into 7 parts. First we're going through an introduction. So here we are going to learn what is the elative case and when we have to use it. Then in chapter 2 we are getting to know how to form the elative case. So here we have 13 different rules, plus we will also include the consonant gradation. In chapter 3 then we will go through 8 different situations that require the elative case. In this chapter we are also going to learn how to form such sentences. Then in the chapters 4 and 5 we will focus on verb and adjective fractions. Also here we are going through example sentences, followed by chapter 6 where we are going to take a quick look into the third infinitive elative, which is needed when we want to say that we are returning from doing an action. And at the end of this video we will as always practice what we've learned today by solving some exercises together. So let's begin with our introduction. What is the elative case and when do we have to use it? So first, the elative case belongs to the inner local cases and it answers to the questions mistä or genesta. The elative marker is sta or ste, which gets added to the weak stem of a verb, which means that the elative case is affected by the consonant gradation. For example, kaupasta or Helsingistä. Kaupasta means out from the store and Helsingistä means from Helsinki. The elative case generally expresses that something is coming out of the inside. For example, when we want to say I'm coming out from the store, then we say tulen kaupasta. I'm coming out from the store. So I was inside the store and now I'm coming out from the store. Tulen kaupasta. Then the elative case is also used when we want to express our opinion. For example, minusta means in my opinion or sinusta means in your opinion. We will also see more examples to it later in this video. Then we use the elative case also when we want to express about what topic we are talking about. So for example, when we want to say we're talking about this problem, then this problem in Finnish is tästä ongelmasta. The elative case is also used when we want to express from where to where. For example, Helsingistä Turkuun, which means from Helsinki to Turku. Then the elative case can be also used in a time-related context. For example, aamusta iltaan, which means from morning till evening. Another situation where we use the elative case is when we want to describe the material something is made of. For example, puusta means out of wood or villasta means out of wool. Then later on in this video we will also focus on verb fractions. So there are some verbs that require the elative case, like for example, tykätä, which means to like, nauttia, which means to enjoy, or jutella, which means to chat in the sense of talking. Also important to mention is that of course verbs do sometimes not only require one case, one specific case, but can be also combined with other cases. Then there are also some adjectives that can require the elative case. For example, varma or iloinen. Varma means sure and iloinen means happy. Also when we want to express that we are returning from doing an action, we use the elative case. Like for example, opiskelemasta, which means from studying, from the act of studying, or lomailemasta, which means from vacationing, in the sense of from the act of vacationing. Then we have 2 more points to go. The elative case can be also used in thank you expressions. For example, kiitos avusta. And also later on in this video we will learn how to use the elative case when we want to say that something changes. For example, when we want to say I will become, then it is minusta tulee. But more to it later. Now we move on to chapter 2, the formation. Here we have 13 rules. So rule number 1 focuses on words ending in the vowels a, u, y, o, or ö. Here's one example. Auto means car. So when we want to form the elative case out of it, then we have to follow 2 steps. In the first step we have to find the stem, which is also auto, and then in the second step we have to add sta to the stem, which means we have auto plus sta is autosta. It's the elative case and it means from the car, out of the car. Rule number 2, words ending in the English vowel e. For example, lentokone means airplane. So in the first step we have to find the stem, which we get by adding an extra e to the word. So that means we have lentokone plus e is lentokone. Double e at the end. Now in the second step we have to add sta to the stem, which means we have lentokone plus sta is lentokoneesta, which means out of the airplane. Next one, rule number 3, new words ending in I. So let's take a look at one example. Bussi means bus. In the first step we have again to find the stem, which is bussi, and then in the second step we have to add sta to the stem, which means we have bussi plus sta is bussista, which means out of the bus. Next rule, number 4, old words ending in I. Here's one example. Talvi means winter. In the first step we have to find the stem. How do we get the stem here? Here we gotta have to replace the last letter I by E. So that means talvi changes to talve. And then in the second step we have to add sta to the stem, which means we have talve plus sta is talvesta. Talvesta. This is the elative case, meaning out of the winter. Next rule, number 5, words ending in C. Here's one example. Kausi means season. In the first step again we have to find the stem. How do we get the stem? We have to replace C with the letters D and E. So that means kausi changes to kauda. Then in the second step we have to add sta to the stem. So we have kauda plus sta and we get kaudesta. Next one, rule number 6. Words ending in. Here's one example. Tulostin means printer. Again in the first step we have to find the stem, which means we have to replace in with ima. So tulostin changes to tulostima. Tulostima. And then in the second step we have to add sta to it. So that means we have tulostima plus sta and we get tulostimesta, which means out of the printer. This is the elative case. Next one, rule number 7. Words ending in nen. Here's one example. Lautanen means plate. In the first step again we have to find the stem, which means we have to replace the ending nen with se. So lautanen changes to lautase. And then in the second step we have to add sta to it and we get lautase plus sta is lautasesta. This is the elative case of lautanen. Next one, rule number 8, words ending in as. Here's one example. Taivas means sky. In the first step again we have to find the stem, which we get when we replace the as with a double A. So taivas changes to taiva. And then in the second step again we have to add sta to it and we get taiva plus sta is taivasta, meaning out of the sky. Then we carry on with rule number 9, which actually consists of 2 rules. So we start with rule 9a, which is about adjectives and most old nouns ending in is. Here's one example. Kaunis means beautiful. In the first step we have to find the stem, which we get when we replace is with a double I. So that means kaunis changes to kauni. And then in the second step we have to add sta to it, which means we have kauni plus sta and we get kauniista. This is the elative case of kaunis. Pay attention that when we want to find the stem here, we have to replace the ending is with a double I. Alright, let's move on to the other example. Most old nouns ending in is. Here's one example. Kauris means Capricorn. In the first step we have to find the stem, which we get when we replace the ending is with a double I. So kauris changes to kauri with a double I, which is our stem. Then in the second step we have to add sta to the stem, which means kauri plus sta becomes kauriista, meaning from the Capricorn or out of the Capricorn. Also here, in order to find the stem, we have to replace the ending is with a double I. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes it works differently. For example, when we look at the rule 9b, which is about some old nouns and colloquial words ending in is. Here's one example. Varis means crow. Here in the first step we have to find a stem again, which we get when we replace is with ixe. See the difference here? Is doesn't get replaced with a double I anymore. Instead it gets replaced with ixe. So that means varis changes to varixe. Then in the second step again we have to add the elative marker sta to the stem, which means we have varixe plus sta and we get varixesta, which means out of the crow. Now let's take one example where we have one of the colloquial words ending in is. For example, fiilis, meaning feeling. In the first step again we have to find the stem, which we get when we replace is with ixa. So fiilis changes to fiilixa. And then in the second step we have to add ste to the stem, which means we have fiilixa plus ste is fiilixesta. If you wonder now why we have to add ste here and not sta, it's due to the vowel harmony. So what we've learned with rule number 9a and b is that when we want to find the stem of a word that is ending in is, we either have to replace the is with a double I or with ixe, depending on what kind of a word we have to deal with. We carry on with rule number 10, words ending in os or us. Here's one example. Laitos. Laitos means, for example, institution. In the first step, again, we have to find the stem, which we get by replacing os with oxa. So laitos changes to laitoxa. Then in the second step, again, we have to add the elative marker sta to the stem. So that means we have laitoxe plus sta and we get laitoxesta. Next one, rule number 11, which also consists of two rules. So we start with 11a, derived words from adjectives or nouns ending in us or us. By the way, if you don't know what derived words are, I made a full video about this topic. You can watch it after this video. For example, korkeus means height. In the first step, again, we have to find the stem, which we get when we replace us with uda. So that means korkeus changes to korkeude. Then in the second step we add sta to it. So we have korkeude plus sta is korkeudesta, meaning out of the height. We carry on with 11b, derived words from verbs ending in us or us. Let's take a look at one example. Palautus means refund. Again, in the first step, we have to find the stem, which we get here by replacing us with uxa. So palautus changes to palautuxa. Then in step number 2, we add sta to the stem, which means we have palautuxa plus sta is palautuxesta. Alright, we move on to rule number 12, words ending in us or us. Here's one example. Itsevarmuus, meaning self-confidence. Again, step number 1, finding the verb stem, means we have to replace here us with ude. So itsevarmuus changes to itsevarmuude. In the second step we add sta to the stem, so that means we have itsevarmuude plus sta is itsevarmuudesta. Now we carry on with rule number 13, words ending in ut or ut. For example, olut means beer. In the first step, again, we have to find the stem, which means we have to replace t with e. So olut changes to olue. Then in the second step, we have to add sta to the stem, which means we have olue plus sta, and we get oluesta. Oluesta, which is the elative case of olut. And our last rule, 13b, words ending in ut or ut, but with focus on not or nut participles. So here's our first example, etsinut, which is the past active participle of etsia. Now, if you wonder when we ever use etsinut, it is used, for example, when we want to form the perfect tense first person singular of etsia, which is olen etsinut. Now let's look how to form the elative case here. In the first step we have to replace ut with a double e. So etsinut changes to etsine. Then in the second step we have to add ste. So that means we get etsinesta. This is the elative case. Now let's take one more example of this group. Mennut. It's the past active participle of menna, which means to go. In the first step again, we have to replace ut with a double E. So mennyt changes to mennä with a double E. Then in the second step, we have to add stä to it, and we get mennä plus stä is mennästä. This is the elative case. Alright, as already mentioned in the introduction, the elative case is affected by the consonant gradation. So let's take a look at one example here. Helsinki. So the consonant gradation here is that NK changes to NG. So when we want to form the elative case out of it, then again we have to find in the first step the stem, which is Helsinki. So NK here changes to NG. And then in the second step we have to add stä to the stem, which means we get Helsinki plus stä is Helsingistä, which is the elative case here, which means from Helsinki or out of Helsinki. Now let's have a look at some more words that are affected by the consonant gradation when we turn them into the elative case. For example, matto means mat. Here we have the consonant gradation. Double T changes to one T, so the elative case is matosta. Next one, joki means river. Here the consonant gradation is that the letter K disappears. So the elative case is joesta. Next example, puku means suit. Here we have the consonant gradation. K changes to V, so the elative case is puvusta. And our last example, paita, which means shirt. Here we have the consonant gradation. T changes to D, and the elative case is paidasta. Alright, now we move on to our next chapter, the example sentences. Here we are getting to know 8 situations where the elative case is required. So the first situation is when we want to express that something is coming out of the inside. Here's one example. Olen kotoisin Norjasta means I'm from Norway. So Norjasta here is the elative case of Norja, which means Norway. Another example is terveisiä Helsingistä means greetings from Helsinki. So Helsingistä here is the elative case of Helsinki. Or otan jääkaapista mehua means I take juice from the fridge. So otan here is the first person singular present tense of the verb ottaa, which means to take. Jääkaapista is the elative case of the noun jääkaappi, which means fridge. And mehua here is the partitive case of mehu, which means choose. Why do we need the partitive case here? Because choose is something that is uncountable. So let's repeat. Otan jääkaapista mehua. I take juice from the fridge. We carry on with the next situation, expressing opinions. For example, onko tämä sinusta hyvä? Means, is this up to your opinion good? So onko means is in a question. The ko here is our question marker. Tämä means this. Sinusta here means to your opinion. It's the elative case of the pronoun sinä. And then we have hyvä, which means good. So let's repeat. Onko tämä sinusta hyvä? Let's take another example. Minusta Tokyo on kiva kaupunki. Means, in my opinion, Tokyo is a nice city. So minusta here means in my opinion. It's the elative case of minä. On means is, kiva means nice, and kaupunki means city. So let's repeat. Minusta Tokyo on kiva kaupunki. In my opinion, Tokyo is a nice city. Next situation is what about. So for example, when we want to express what about we're talking. Here's one example. Sinun täytyy puhua hänelle tästä ongelmasta means you have to talk to him about this problem. So sinun here is the genitive case of sinä. We need here the genitive case because we have here the necessity sentence structure, which we recognize by the following word täytyy. So sinun täytyy means you have to. Puhua is standing in its infinitive form and it means to speak. Hänelle means to him, elative case. And then we have tästä ongelmasta, which means about this problem. It's the elative case of tämä ongelma. Why do we use the elative case here? Because it expresses the topic that needs to be talked about. So let's repeat. Sinun täytyy puhua hänelle tästä ongelmasta. You have to talk to him about this problem. Let's take another example. Tämä kirja on Ranskan historiasta. Means this book is about the history of France. So tämä kirja means this book. On means is. It's the third person singular present tense of the verb olla, which means to be. And Ranskan historiasta means about the history of France. So historiasta is standing here in the elative case, and France here, which is Ranska in Finnish, has to stand in the genitive case because we're talking about the history of France. So that is why we say Ranskan. So let's repeat. Tämä kirja on Ranskan historiasta. This book is about the history of France. Alright, now we move on to the next situation, expressing from until. Here's one example. Minä luen kirjan alusta loppuun. Means I will read the book from the beginning till the end. So minä luen kirjan means I will read the book. Alusta here is the elative case of alku, which means beginning, and loppuun means to the end. It's the elative case of loppu, which means end. So let's repeat. Minä luen kirjan alusta loppuun. I will read the book from the beginning till the end. Kuinka kauan kestää junamatka Helsingistä Turkuun? Means how long does the train journey from Helsinki to Turku take? So kuinka kauan means how long. Kestää is the third person singular present tense of kestää, which means to last, take or endure. Then junamatka means train journey. Helsingistä means from Helsinki, and Turkuun means to Turku. So Helsingistä here is our word which is standing here in the elative case. So let's repeat. Kuinka kauan kestää junamatka Helsingistä Turkuun? How long does the train journey from Helsinki to Turku take? Alright, we move on to our next situation, which is time related. For example, olen töissä aamusta iltaan means I'm at work from morning till evening. So olen töissä means I'm at work. Aamusta means from morning. It's the elative case of aamu, and iltaan means till the evening. It's the elative case of ilta. So let's repeat. Olen töissä aamusta iltaan. I'm at work from morning till evening. Alright, next situation, expressing the material something is made of. Here's one example. Tämä tuoli on puusta means this chair is made of wood. So tämä tuoli means this chair on is, and puusta is the elative case of the word puu, which here means wood. So tämä tuoli on puusta means this chair is made of wood. Let's have one more example. Komero on tehty puusta means the closet is made of wood. So komero means closet. On tehty means is made of. And puusta here is the elative case of puu, which here means wood. So here we need the elative case because we want to express of what material the closet is made of. So let's repeat. Komero on tehty puusta. The closet is made of wood. We carry on. The elative case is also used with some thank you expressions. For example, kiitos lahjasta means thanks for the present. So lahjasta here is the elative case of lahja, which means present, or kiitos tästä means thanks for this. So tästä here is the elative case of tämä. Kiitos tästä, thanks for this. Or when we want to say thanks for this book, then we'd say kiitos tästä kirjasta, thanks for the book, or kiitos avusta means thanks for the help. So avusta here is the elative case of apu, which means help. So let's repeat. Kiitos lahjasta means thanks for the present. Kiitos tästä means thanks for this. Kiitos tästä kirjasta means thanks for this book. And kiitos avusta means thanks for the help. Next and last situation before we move on with the verb and adjective fractions. The elative case is also used when we're talking about changes. What does it mean? Here's one example. Hänestä tuli avaruuslentäjä means he became an astronaut. So hänestä here is the elative case of hän, which means he or she. And we use the elative case here because we want to express what changed. So he changed from not being an astronaut into being an astronaut. So this is why we use the elative case here. Tuli is the third person past tense of the verb tulla, and avaruuslentäjä means astronaut. So let's repeat. Hänestä tuli avaruuslentäjä. He became an astronaut. By the way, if you already know the translative case, then of course you can also say hän tuli avaruuslentäjäksi, which also means the same. We move on to our next chapter, the verb fractions. So as mentioned before, there are some verbs that require the elative case, or at least can be also combined with the elative case. Let's have a look at some examples. Our first verb is tykätä, which means to like. This verb requires the elative case. So, for example, we can say minä tykkään saksalaisesta leivästä means I like German bread. So, tykkään is the first person singular present tense of the verb tykätä, and saksalaisesta leivästä is the elative case of saksalainen leipä. Here we need the elative case because of the verb tykätä. So let's repeat. Minä tykkään saksalaisesta leivästä. I like German bread. One more example. Minä tykkään sinusta means I like you. So sinusta here is the elative case of sinä. Minä tykkään sinusta. I like you. Let's have a look at another verb. Puhua means to speak. Well, puhua is a verb which can stand in combination with different cases. We take a look here how it looks like when we combine it with the elative case. En halua puhua siitä asiasta means I don't want to talk about that matter. So, en halua is the negative first person singular present tense of haluta, which means to want. En halua, I don't want. Puhua is the infinitive and means to speak. Siitä asiasta means about that matter. En halua puhua siitä asiasta. Next verb is etsiä, which means to look for. Here's one example. Minä etsin uutta asuntoa netistä means I'm looking for a new apartment from the internet. So, minä etsin means I'm looking for or I looked for. Etsin can be both, either present tense or past tense of etsiä, which means to look for. Uutta asuntoa means a new apartment, standing here in the partitive case because of the verb etsiä, and netistä means from the internet. It's the elative case of netti. Here we need the elative case because in Finnish we are asking where from do I look for something. In English, for example, we ask where do I look for something, but in Finnish it is where from do I look for something. So that is why we have to use the elative case here. So let's repeat. Minä etsin uutta asuntoa netistä. I'm looking for a new apartment from the internet. Next one, for example, ostaa means to buy. Also this verb can be combined with the elative case. Here's one example. Amy osti ruokatavarat kaupasta means Amy bought groceries from the store. So Amy osti means Amy bought. So osti is the third person past tense of the verb ostaa, which means to buy, and ruokatavarat means groceries. Here we use the T plural because we're talking about specific groceries. And then we have kaupasta, which means from the store. Standing in the elative case, its basic form is kauppa. We use here the elative case because we want to express where from Amy is buying groceries. So let's repeat. Amy osti ruokatavarat kaupasta. Amy bought groceries from the store. Let's have one more verb. Nauttia means to enjoy. This verb requires the elative case. For example, nautin hiljaisuudesta means I enjoy or I enjoyed the silence. So nautin is the first person singular present tense or past tense of the verb nautia, which means to enjoy. And hiljaisuudesta is the elative case of hiljaisuus, which means silence. So let's repeat. Nautin hiljaisuudesta. I enjoy or I enjoyed the silence. Alright, we move on to our next chapter, the adjective fractions. So here we're going to learn about adjectives that require the elative case. Our first one is kiinnostunut. For example, Lasse on kiinnostunut urheilusta means Lasse is interested in sports. On kiinnostunut means is interested. Urheilusta means in sports. So urheilusta here is the elative case of urheilu, which means sports. Let's repeat. Lasse on kiinnostunut urheilusta. Lasse is interested in sports. Next one. Our next adjective is varma. For example, oletko varma tästä? Are you sure about this? Oletko means are you? Ko here is the question marker. Varma means to be sure. Tästä is the elative case of tämä. Oletko varma tästä? Are you sure about this? Next adjective is iloinen. Here we have one example. Jussi on iloinen päätöksestä means Jussi is happy about the decision. So on iloinen means happy. Päätöksestä means about the decision. Here we use the elative case because of the adjective iloinen. So let's repeat. Jussi on iloinen päätöksestä. Jussi is happy about the decision. Let's do one more adjective. Ylpeä means proud. Here's one example. Olen ylpeä sinusta means I'm proud of you. Olen, I am. Ylpeä, proud. And sinusta here is the elative case of sinä, which means you. Olen ylpeä sinusta. I'm proud of you. Here we use the elative case because of the adjective ylpeä. Alright, now we move on to our next chapter, the third infinitive elative. This one is used when we want to say that we have returned from doing an action. For example, Aki palasi Saksasta opiskelemasta. Aki returned from studying in Germany. So, palasi here is the third person singular past tense of the verb palata, which means to return. Then we have Saksasta, which means from Germany, elative case of Saksa. And opiskelemasta here is our third infinitive elative, which means from studying, from the act of studying. So, let's repeat. Aki palasi Saksasta opiskelemasta. Aki returned from studying in Germany. Let's take one more example. Minä tulen Japanista lomailemasta means I'm coming from vacationing in Japan. So, minä tulen means I'm coming, I come. First person singular of the verb tulla. Then we have Japanista means from Japan. And lomailemasta means from vacationing. Minä tulen Japanista lomailemasta. I'm coming from vacationing in Japan. Alright, now we move on to our last chapter for today, the exercises and solutions. So today we have two different kinds of exercises. So let's start with our first exercise. We want to say you have to talk to him about this problem. Below the blank spaces you see which words you have to put into the correct forms. We have 7 seconds to answer. So let's solve it together. The first one is sinun. Sinun täytyy puhua means you have to talk. It's the necessity sentence structure. So that's why sinä has to stand here in the genitive case, which is sinun. Then we have hänelle, which is the allative case. So we have sinun täytyy puhua hänelle. And what do we have to talk about? We have to talk about this problem. So that means now we need the allative case, which is why we say tästä ongelmasta. So the whole sentence is sinun täytyy puhua hänelle tästä ongelmasta. You have to talk to him about this problem. So the grammar points in this exercise are necessity sentence structure, allative case and elative case. Now we move on to the next exercise. Here we have 14 words which we have to put into the elative case. For each word we have 5 seconds. So let's go. Our first one is koulu, which means school. What is the elative case? That's right, it's koulusta. Next one, Suomi, means Finland. What is the elative case? Very nice, it's Suomesta. Next one, keitin, means cooker. The elative case is... Very good, it's keittimästä. Next one, sininen, blue. The elative case is... It's sinisestä, sinisestä. Next one, huone, which means room. Do you know the elative case? Excellent, it's huoneesta. Next one, vastaus means answer. The elative case is... Very good, it's vastauksesta. Next one, taivas means sky. The elative case is... Very nice, it's taivaasta. Next one, kaunis means beautiful. Do you know the elative case? That's right, it's kauniista, kauniista. Next one, kuukausi means month. The elative case is... That's right, it's kuukaudesta. Next one, olut means beer. The elative case is... Perfect, it's oluesta. Next one, fiilis. Yep, it's fiiliksesta. Next one, this one is a bit more challenging. Mennyt. What is the elative case? Very good, it's mennästä. Next one is kuivuus, means drought. What is the elative case? Very good, it's kuivuudesta. And our last one, teos, means work of art, or also known as övre. Do you know the elative case? Very nice, it's teoksesta. Alright, so that's it for today. I think I'm going to stop the video here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more Finnish, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, have a nice day and see you next time.